Welcome to this guide on Araxxor, a rather complex boss with tons of nuances and things to be aware of, but tier 90 weapons as a reward to match it. Fear not, as I'll guide you through it all step by step. To start, you need just a few things: access to Mauritania and your best in slot gear. Once ready, simply enter the hive slightly south of Port Vesmatis. Go all the way to the back and choose your desired type of encounter after clicking on the whip. Before we even start a fight, we already face a first mechanic. If you go for a public encounter, Araxxor will spawn in as a random type. However, if we use a private encounter, it will spawn as a type that is weak to the weapon we have equipped, meaning that if we equip mage it is melee, for melee it is ranged, and for ranged it is magic. When entering while wearing necromancy, it will choose a random style out of those three. Another thing to keep in mind is the hive's rotation. Inside the lair are 3 webs directly after the first room, with one of them being blocked off. If you have Ward's Blessing 3 unlocked, you can select which route is blocked. Otherwise, you are subject to the public rotation, which changes every 4 days. Let's start in the first room. After a brief moment, Araxxor will descend from the ceiling in a certain combat style. You can recognize each style by the color of its spikes: red for melee, blue for magic, and green for ranged. For its basic attacks, simply pray against that style. Speaking of prayer, while you have Soul Split active, Araxxor will partially heal itself as if it has its own Soul Split active. In the first room, start burning the web towards the next route you wish to go down as soon as you can. Once the web is lit, you need to survive battle Araxxor until the web has finished burning down. Any health it has remaining when you leave the first room is stored as healing during the third room. But what attacks can you expect in the first room? Let's go over each unique style attack first and then the shared special attacks. If you select to fight melee Araxxor, it will use melee attacks, with a chance to apply a bleed. You can clear the bleed with freedom. If you opted for magic Araxxor, it will hurl green blobs of venom at you, draining your run energy and combat stats. For this reason, overload potions are recommended as they will reset your stats, or you can use super restore potions. If you choose a ranged Araxxor, it will shoot webs at you trying to poison you. As such, bring anti-poisons, an anti-poison totem, or a Venomblood perk to counter this. But those are its basic attacks. Obviously, this boss also has special attacks. These trigger after 4 to 7 attacks, based on what special attack was used before. I find it easier to just look at the animations, rather than trying to count the attacks, especially due to the variations. If you do want to count, consider using Freedom or Anticipation after each 4th attack. So, it's special attacks. Cocoon. You will be wrapped in a cocoon that stuns you. To break free, spam click the ground or Araxxor until you break out. Cleave. Araxxor will pull you towards itself and after a short delay deal a heavy hitting swipe attack. Move back or search through Araxxor to dodge. If you were lucky on Freedom or Anticipate, the pull won't affect you and you will be able to get in some free damage. Web Shield. It will fully cover itself in a web and reflect any damage to it. While it is possible to out-heal, I recommend using the Seize ability so you don't deal any damage to it. Also be careful for damage over time effects or triggering effects, as these can quickly stack up and kill you instead. These 3 are the only attacks to keep in mind in the first room, but they also apply for the second and third room. Once the web has burned down, you can continue to attack in order to bring Araxxor to low health, or move on to the second room, storing any remaining health in its opponent's health pool. The second room depends on which route you chose, so I'll go from north to south. The top path, also known as the minion path, is probably the most dangerous one. Here Araxxor will spawn in up to 20 spiders of 5 different types of minions throughout the encounter. Bladed spiders, which attack with melee, imbued spiders, which attack with magic, spitting spiders, which attack with ranged, and pulsing spiders, recognizable by the big orange abdomen that heal Araxxor for 5000 every 5 seconds, and finally mirrorback spiders, which are the reason this buff is dangerous, as they make Araxxor invulnerable and reflect 50% of damage you would have dealt to you instead. You can either opt to spend time killing all 20 spiders during this phase and lower Araxxor's health, or simply rush to the third room, adding its remaining health to its health pool. In the middle is Poison Puddle. You will want to track Araxxor in it to have it build up acid to about at least 70%. Be careful though, as standing in the acid will deal poison damage to you if you don't have any poison protection ongoing. Once it absorbs around 70% of the acid, bring it up the ramp in the back, as it will slowly deposit its poison there whilst the fight continues until the acid tears away at the rocks and you can move on to the third room. You can see the progress by the rocks getting covered more and more in acid. Whilst this is happening, be careful of green spittle. as it will shortly after spawn a spider with an orange timer above its head that will slowly walk over to you. Once the timer is full, it explodes, applying an instant death to any player near it. Lastly is the darkness route. Shortly after you walk in, the tunnel will go dark with a highlighted white circle. Standing in the shadow causes you to take damage over time. Standing in the light keeps you safe. Every so often you will see 3 eggs spawn and a flaming arrow slowly float towards you. When the fire arrow hits you, try to be standing next to the 3 eggs in order to burn them down. If you fail to do so, 3 minions will spawn. Either kill or ignore them. You will also be receiving ranged and magic attacks throughout this phase. After some time, Araxxor will appear and perform an attack animation. Click the arrow corresponding with the direction that animation went to. If you chose the correct option, the barricade will fully break and you can continue to the next room. If you made a mistake, less damage will be done to the barricade and the phase will repeat until Araxxor comes down again. Now that we are in the third room, the mechanics depend on what you did your previous routes. Depending on the 2 routes that were available to you, the following can also happen. If you had the minion path, any of the remaining 20 minions can still spawn in. If you had the acid path, the insta-kill spider can still be spawned. Also, highly acidic spiders can spawn, which you can click to lure them towards you. If they run near Araxxor, Araxxor will consume them, removing acid from phase 4. If you had the darkness path, the spotlight event can occur. Any pooled health from the previous rooms is added to its current health as damage you need to deal. Once you lower it to 0 HP, we can move on to the final phase. After jumping to the final platform, Araxxor will be replaced by Araxxi. If the minion path was open, any remaining minions can still spawn in. With the acid path open, any leftover acid will be converted to increase damage dealt by it. When the darkness path is open, the spotlight mechanic can happen. It has 2 attacks at distance, ranged or magic, which will alternate to counter your protective prayer. So protecting against magic will cause it to attack with ranged, and protecting against ranged will cause the next attack to be magic. Once Araxxi reaches half health, she becomes enraged, causing her to no longer use any special attacks, but instead release a putric acid wave, which bounces around the arena every so often, moving to the player's position. If you stand in it, you will take heavy typeless damage, so moving away from it is advised during slower kills. Eventually you'll manage to bring Araxxi to 0 HP, causing her to topple over, allowing you to click on the corpse to collect your loot. Congratulations, kill complete. If you seem to be lacking damage, consider putting some spiders in your player-owned farm for a small percentage buff. Anyway, if this guide was helpful, please consider subscribing and leave your experiences with this boss in the comments down below. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.